Hello everyone, and welcome to White Lake Township Library's Yin Yoga program. My name is Kalia, and I'll be guiding you through our practice tonight. If you are not familiar with yoga, or in particular Yin Yoga, Yin Yoga is kind of unique in that we are using a lot more breath work, and we're holding poses for longer than we would in a typical like vinyasa or flow type yoga class. So typically the poses are held for 3 to 5 minutes. Because this is a little bit of a condensed class, we'll probably only be holding poses for about a minute or so, depending on the pose. We're going to work on some poses that have been shown to help with stress and anxiety today, which most Yin Yoga poses do help with that, but we'll hone in on a few that are particularly helpful, or that I've found are particularly helpful. So we can go ahead and get started. If you have a mat or a blanket or some pillows you want to grab, Yin Yoga is also a really great practice for modifications. So if you have any type of movement or mobility issues that prevent you from getting quite into the pose that we're aiming to get into, it's absolutely fine. There's always a modification for everything. And so what I usually would have in a Yin Yoga class is a couple blankets, some bolsters, which are, you could use like some cushions, couch cushions, chair cushions, pillows, towels, blankets, all those sorts of things would work. Mainly what those modifiers are meant for is to kind of help support areas of our body so that we aren't feeling any pain or pinching or pulling. We're still feeling the stretch of the pose, but those props are helping to kind of just kind of help us out a little bit, give us a little more support. Maybe if it's our back, if we're lying down, our back is hurting, but maybe if we slip a rolled up towel underneath, then the pain is, we no longer have that pain, and then we can't continue to hold in that pose. So that's what modifiers are. That's how they are helpful. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through this practice today. Other than that, we'll go ahead and get started. And I'd invite you to come into an easy seated position of your choice. I'm in a cross-leg position right now. You're more than welcome, if you're familiar with yoga and you're comfortable, to get into a lotus position or any comfortable seated position of your choice. So we're going to start by focusing on our breath. So I just invite you to either close your eyes or look down towards your mat. And we're going to start by just taking some slow and steady inhales, and then some long, slow exhales. And just kind of go at your own pace here. And exhale. And while you're inhaling and exhaling, try to just take a moment to set an intention for your class today. Keeping in mind of maybe some particular motivation that called you to be here and practice and bring out your mat. Maybe something that we're striving for, something we're trying to get over, something we're aiming for. All of those types of things are intentions that we can set. And they just kind of help to guide us in our practice and to keep us focused and motivated when maybe we're struggling a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and take one last deep inhale here. And exhale, really letting out all the breath. And then we're going to sit up nice and straight and tall and do a couple warm-up stretches. So we're first going to bring our hands up in front of us, kind of like right in front of our face. We're going to interlace our fingers, and then we're just going to do some wrist rolling. You want to make sure to warm up at the beginning of your practice, so that we don't have any injuries or anything like that. So the wrists are one area that you want to make sure you warm up. You may want to bring your feet out in front and do the same with your ankles. So just kind of do some ankle rolls back and forth. Again, some of these are going to be easier for some of us than they are for others. For me, for instance, I have a plate in one of my ankles, so my ankle rolls don't look as good as my wrist rolls, and that's absolutely okay. So coming back to seated, we're going to go ahead and take a nice deep inhale and reach our arms up to the sky as we do so. So inhale, sweeping our arms up, looking up towards the ceiling and our fingertips. We're gonna leave our right arm extended up while we bring our left arm down and behind us. And then we're gonna bring our right arm down so that it meets our leg just above that left knee. We never wanna put any pressure on our joints, but we want it to be just above. And again, this is another time that you can have, if this is too much, pressure, this kind of gap here where you feel pulling, you can always stick, like I said, a rolled up towel or a blanket or even pillow under there to help with that. Otherwise, we're gonna turn towards the left, over our left shoulder, and we're gonna hold the seated twist. It'll be our first pose, so we'll try to hold it for about a minute. Taking nice slow inhales. Long, slow exhales. With each inhale, we want to try to sit up a little bit straighter and taller. And then with every exhale, try maybe to turn just a little bit further over that left shoulder, if you can. If you're comfortable where you're at, then just keep breathing where you're at. Sometimes Yin Yoga can be challenging for some of us because it's hard for us to sit still. So this is also kind of a great introduction to sitting, which is essentially what meditating is just sitting quietly, in one position, more or less, and focusing on your breath. So if you can do Yin Yoga, then you absolutely can do meditation as well, and kind of vice versa. So we'll go ahead and take one last deep inhale here. Really sitting up nice and straight and tall. And exhale, we're gonna bring ourselves back to center. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So everything we do on one side, we're gonna wanna do on the other. Now again, you might feel a difference between sides, and that's okay. Most people are much more flexible on one side than the other. So don't worry about that. Again, adjust as needed with your modifications. But we're gonna go ahead and inhale, sweeping our arms up. This time we leave that left arm up, and we're looking up towards the sky, bringing our right arm down and behind us, our lower back. Then we kind of crisscross that left arm just over the right thigh, just above the knee. And if this is okay for you, and you feel a nice stretch here with no pinching or pulling, go ahead and stay here. Otherwise, we're gonna turn and look over that right shoulder. Maybe sitting up a little bit straighter as we take an inhale. Again, on your inhales, if you're kind of imagining a string pulling your spine up straight, that you sit up just a little bit straighter and taller. And then exhale, maybe turn just a little bit more over that right shoulder to really maximize our stretch. Keeping with our breath. One last deep inhale here. And exhale, come back to center. Very good. So we might want to kind of shake out our arms a little bit. Maybe do some arm circles. So we're holding our arms still for a little while. We're going to stretch out our legs in a minute, so I'm not worried about the legs so much. So the next pose we're going to do a half straddle fold. So we're going to leave our left leg, if you are in a cross leg position, we're going to leave our left leg more or less where it is. We're going to stretch our right leg out diagonally to the corner of our mat. Pretty much perfectly in line with the right hand corner of our mat. You'll find it's a good position. Now, the position of your left foot, you're gonna want that, the bottom of your left foot to be coming in contact with your right thigh, if you can. Now, if this is too much of a stretch for you here, of course you can have your leg out more if that relieves some of the stress or tension in your leg. You can prop this leg up. You can also, open up the leg a little bit down here so that we're not coming up as high on the thigh, whatever's comfortable for you today. And again, we're gonna sit up nice and straight and tall. We're gonna, on our next inhale, we're gonna roll our shoulders up to our ears. And then just kind of roll them back down to make sure that our back and our shoulders in a good alignment. So once we're situated in this position, we're gonna inhale and sweep our arms up once again. Nice deep inhale here. And exhale, we're gonna turn and fold over that extended leg. So now you might come to your shin. You might be able to come to your ankle. You might be able to grab hold of your foot or maybe even just your big toe. But wherever you're at, I want to make sure that you're comfortable in this position. We'll hold this, we're gonna try to hold this one a little bit longer, and then we'll do the opposite side. So we're folding over this leg. Nice deep inhales, exhales, pulling ourselves down a little bit more, and just let your head hang very heavy. You can keep your hands to the side of your leg as well. If you're not wanting your hands actually on your leg, if it feels better to the side, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to grab a couple pillows, you can place the pillows or cushions or whatever you have at home on the mat on either side of your leg and kind of rest your arms on that as well. I don't have any pillows here today, so I'm gonna just keep my hands on the mat, but if you have pillows and can kind of rest like that, you can even kind of rest your head down on top of your hands. So we're gonna just start breathing in this pose. Long, slow inhales. Long, slow exhales. Remember to keep coming back to your breath. If you're feeling any stress or tension, or maybe even a little bit of anxiety because we're holding our poses for so long, just come back to your breath. Maybe back up a little bit, ease off on the stretches just a little bit. Nice deep inhale in, exhale out, and then we can come back to our pose. One last deep inhale here. And exhale, slowly walking ourselves back up to center. Very good. We might want to bring our legs out in front of us again and kind of just shake them out a little bit before we move into the other side. If you want to do some arm circles, loosen up our shoulders. All right, so when you're ready, we're going to bring that right leg in. So our right leg is bent this time. Our left leg is going to stretch out diagonally, coming to the corner of our left mat. You're going to take a moment to just get yourself situated, sitting up nice and straight and tall. Check in with where your foot's at. We want our the sole of our right foot touching our inner left thigh, if possible. Again, making adjustments as needed, listening to your bodies, using whatever modifications you have. Can get very creative with them. If you need something under this knee, if this is too much pressure, please feel free to put a pillow or a rolled up towel or something under that knee. So I'm just giving some suggestions to common modifiers that people sometimes need, because those are areas where people sometimes feel there's too much stress, too much pressure there. So we're gonna sit up nice and straight and tall. Again, take a nice deep inhale, bringing our shoulders up to our ears and then rolling them down our back so that we're sitting up with a nice straight spine, imagining that imaginary string pulling our spines up to the ceiling. And when you're ready, we're gonna take a nice deep inhale in, sweeping our arms up, looking up to the sky. We're gonna turn and exhale. We're gonna fold over that left leg. So again, we might be at different places here. We might be coming to our shin. We might have our hands to the side of our mat. We might be able to reach our hands to our ankle, or maybe even grab onto our big toe. We might have pillows at our side so that we can lean our hands on our pillows and rest our head on our hands. So wherever you're at, make sure you're comfortable, and we'll hold this pose for a minute or so. Nice deep inhales, long, slow exhales. Nice deep inhale. And exhale, maybe coming down a little bit closer towards that left leg. Again, if you need to back up a little bit, if you're feeling too much pressure, too much stretching, you can always back up a little bit. Nice deep inhale, long, slow exhale. And then we can kind of slowly walk ourselves back down again if that's within our practice tonight. One last deep inhale here. And exhale, slowly walking ourselves back up into seated. And go ahead and stretch those legs straight out in front. And this time we can shake them out a little bit, bouncing your knees up and down. This time we're gonna leave our legs out in front, and we're gonna do a forward fold over our extended legs. So what you wanna do is have your feet flexed, not pointed. So we want to kind of pull our feet back towards our bodies. Again, taking a moment just to sit up nice and straight and tall, getting our sit bones situated on the mat. This is kind of a hard one for some people to keep a straight spine. You probably will feel that your back is working harder than it sometimes does, keeping you in this position. So we're gonna take a nice deep inhale, sweeping our arms up above. And exhale, we're just gonna forward fold straight over our legs. And again, coming to different spots, coming to our shins, our ankles, the floor, wrapping our hands maybe around our feet, maybe grabbing hold of our big toe with each hand and kind of helping to pull ourselves down. Wherever you're at, we're gonna try to hold this pose for a minute or so. So make sure you're comfortable. There shouldn't really be too many modifications with this pose, because if it's too much of a stretch, you can just kind of back up. And any lean is gonna be a stretch for you. So wherever you feel that stretch and you feel like that's where your practice is at tonight, that's where you're gonna stay while we work through our breath. So once you're ready, just start taking those nice deep inhales, long, slow exhales. Nice deep inhale. Exhaling, maybe sinking a little bit deeper down towards our legs. One last deep inhale here. And exhale. Slowly and carefully walking ourselves back up. And we might want to roll our shoulders a little bit. Might want to do some arm rolls. Might want to bounce our knees a little bit just to kind of counteract all those stretches we've done. Stretching out our wrist if we want to. All right, so we're going to move into a different kind of pose now. We're going to come into what's called hero's pose. So you're going to kind of just turn over so that we're almost in like a kneeling position. Well, we are pretty much in a kneeling position. So your feet are underneath your bottom. We can have our feet splayed out a little bit. You don't want to be sitting like directly on your heels like that because that's going to put a lot of pressure on the tops of your legs right there. So kind of just coming to a comfortable position with that. This is hero's pose. This is all we do in hero's pose. Now what we can do from hero's pose is we can go into child's pose, which is one that if you've taken any yoga classes, I'm sure you've heard of. Child's pose is an excellent pose for stress relief. So I wanted to show you guys what that looked like. So how you would typically start out child's pose is kneeling, getting into hero's pose. And then you're just gonna kind of widen your legs a little bit, kind of scooching down so that our bottoms are more on the mat instead of on our feet. And I'm gonna back up a little bit because I'm gonna end up going off my mat. So then, once we're there, we're just gonna walk ourselves forward and coming into child's pose. So you may come to where your forearms are on the floor, or you may be able to keep going. So you're just gonna wanna walk slowly with your fingertips stretching out. And what we want is to get that nice deep stretch in our back. And then when we're fully in child's pose is when we relax our head down towards the mat. And hopefully, if we can't rest our forehead on the mat, we have a pillow or blanket or towel or something that's raised up enough that we can relax our head, because that's part of the anti-stress kind of effects of child's pose, is letting our head hang, just becoming very heavy and connected with the mat. And this is a good pose to come to if you take other yoga classes and you may feel maybe they're a little bit faster and you may feel yourself losing your breath, or even just kind of getting like muscle fatigue, or the stretch is just too much, or whatever the case may be. If you come back to your breath and you come back to child's pose, you more than likely find that just a couple breaths are enough to get you back into the space where you can continue your practice. So we're going to hold child's pose for a little bit just so that you get the feel of this pose. Again, just a very, very good pose to incorporate into your practice if you have not already, especially for those of us that are kind of trying to combat stress and anxiety. So again, just walking our fingertips out. Nice deep inhale once we're stretched out here. And exhale, we're just going to lower our heads down and continue to take nice deep breaths in. Long, slow breaths out. You're going at your own pace. Nice deep inhale. Long, slow exhale. Now, another variation of child's pose is that we can move the position of our arms. We can always bring our arms behind us as well, if we like. It's a different kind of feeling. It's not as much of a stretch in our back. So if we're kind of struggling with our back, our shoulders, you might want to try bringing your arms behind you. And we're still getting the calming effects of child's pose when we're keeping with our breath, but it's not so much of a stretch on our shoulder blades and on our back. So wherever you're at, we're going to take just a few more breaths here. Last deep inhale here. Exhale. Slowly helping ourselves up and back to either sitting or kneeling. And what I'm going to have you do now is kind of swing your legs out in front. You'll want to scooch towards the end of your mat because we're going to be working into a reclined position. So make sure you give yourself enough room, and then make sure you slowly lower yourself down. So we have our legs outstretched, and what we're going to do, and our arms are at our sides. Hopefully you can see me okay. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our right leg into our chest, and we're going to kind of interlace our fingers and then have them right below that right knee. And then we're just going to kind of hug and squeeze that leg into our bodies, kind of rocking back and forth, opening up those hip joints. Or we can also wrap our arms around the right leg, giving it a nice big hug, and take opposite hands to opposite elbows, and then we get an even deeper stretch. And just kind of rocking back and forth a little bit. This is, again, an area of our bodies that holds a lot of stress, a lot of tension. So we're going to do a couple lying down spinal twists, which are a little bit similar to the seated ones that we did. So what you're going to do is we're going to hang on to this right leg with our left hand right below that knee. We're going to take our right arm and stretch that out to the right hand side so that we're kind of in a half T type position. Now, once you're ready and you're comfortable there, we're going to lean towards the left. We're going to bring our left hand and we're going to place it just above that left knee. So again, we're on kind of our thigh area, and just kind of help it over to the left-hand side. Now, while we're doing this, we want to make sure that our shoulder blades stay flat on the mat because we don't want one side coming up more than the other. That's going to throw us off, kind of off balance. So once you've found a comfortable spot here, we're going to turn our heads over those right fingertips, and then we're going to hold this stretch, and we'll just hold it for a couple breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Just kind of go at your own pace with that. We won't hold this pose quite so long. Just taking slow, steady inhales. Long, slow exhales. Two more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, we're going to bring ourselves back to a neutral position. Go ahead and give that right leg another hug, another little roll out before we let it fall out in front of us. And then we're going to invite our left leg in, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to interlace our fingers, bringing them just below that left knee. Give ourselves a chance to kind of rock back and forth, opening up the hip joints on that side. We might be able to wrap our arms around our leg, opposite hands to opposite elbows, getting a little bit deeper of a stretch, again, rocking kind of back and forth. And then when you're ready, we're going to hang on to that left leg with our right hand. We're going to bring our left arm out, forming a half T position. And then we're going to kind of swivel to the right and bring that right hand just below the left knee, and then help it over to the right. And you'll feel that nice deep stretch all along your back there and the rib cage area. So once you're comfortable with this, and again, we want to check in to make sure both our shoulder blades are flat on the mat, we're just going to turn our heads to look over our left fingertips. And we'll take a few breaths here. Nice deep inhale. Long, slow exhale. And just kind of go at your own pace. Listen to your body. Nice deep inhale. Long, slow exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale, bringing ourselves back to center. We're going to go ahead and hug that left leg in again to our chest. We're going to bring the right leg in to meet it, and then we're just going to kind of rock back and forth a little bit, rocking on our back. This usually feels really good for most people. It's almost kind of like giving yourself a little back massage. And then we are going to settle into our final pose, our corpse pose or resting pose of Shavasana. So in order to get into Shavasana, we're going to, again, straighten out our legs, straight out in front of us, and we're just going to kind of let our feet fall to the sides. Our hands are going to come to our sides with our palms facing up. So each arm to each side, we want our palms up. Again, checking in with those shoulder blades on our mat, making sure they're flat on our mat and one's not raised up more than the other. And so Shavasana is an important part of every practice. It gives our bodies time to rest, time to rejuvenate themselves, and just kind of reward your body as well for the work that you did in your practice today. So we're going to close our eyes, and I'd like you to, as we're keeping with our breath, I'd like you to envision, starting at the very top of your head, a warm, soothing kind of wave just washing over you. So starting at the top of our head, the wave is just traveling down. So as it travels, it's going to relax that muscle in our body. So relaxing our forehead muscles, relaxing our face, our mouth, and our neck muscles. Relaxing our shoulders, letting them sink deeper into the mat. Relaxing our arms at our sides, relaxing our fingertips, might even curl up a little bit if that's our natural relaxed state. Relaxing our rib cage, our stomach muscles, relaxing our hips, letting them fall heavy into our mats. Warm wave is grounding us as it washes over us, relaxing all the muscles in our thighs and in our legs, down to our feet, down to the very tips of our toes, having relaxed each and every muscle that works so hard to carry us around every day. If you didn't set an intention earlier in class, Shavasana is also a good time to take to set an intention. Maybe it's something that you found your mind wandering to while you were in some of those longer poses. And as we keep taking nice deep inhales and long, slow exhales, I just want you to envision breathing in everything that's good in our lives, everything that we're thankful for, that we're grateful for, that we look forward to. Breathing all of that in and just filling our whole selves with goodness. And then when we exhale, I want you to imagine letting go of all the negative, all the worries, all of our fears, our stressors, letting go of anything that doesn't serve us, teach us, or bring joy and happiness to our lives. When you're ready, we're going to ask the body to wake back up. So we're going to start to wiggle our fingers and wiggle our toes. Maybe again doing some arm, some wrist circles, some ankle circles. Reaching our arms overhead, maybe even interlacing our fingers, taking a nice deep full body early morning stretch. Really, really stretching from the tips of our toes to the tips of our fingertips. Inhale. And exhale. And when you're ready, we're going to bend our knees, rolling gently over to our left-hand side. We can go ahead and use that left arm as a pillow for a couple breaths. This is called a recovery pose. And it's often helpful to take a couple breaths here before we come back up to sitting. So nice deep inhale here. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. One more inhale. And with our exhale, we're going to use that right hand to just slowly help ourselves back up and back to sitting, where we'll meet again in an easy seated position of your choice on our mat. And I'd like you all to just kind of either close your eyes, lower your eyes down toward the mat, lower maybe your head as well, and bring your hands to heart center. I just want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to practice with me today. Again, giving thanks to ourselves as well for showing up on our mats, for confronting perhaps some things that are challenging for us, setting our intentions. The light in me sees, honors, and respects the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you all so very much for joining me for Yin Yoga tonight. My name again is Kalia, and we will be having another Yin Yoga soon. We'll learn a few more new poses, and we'll talk a little bit more about breath. Particularly, I'd like to talk to you guys about the certain kind of breath that you may have noticed that I was using today. So keep practicing. Hopefully this inspires you to keep up your practice throughout the week, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.